pretending to believe in the promises of politicians. Believe in your capability to build liberty. This is Thinking Liberty. It's July 27th.
It's one of them damn days.
One of those days on thinkingliberty.net.
It's amazing how he just comes up with slogans like that, and he can't really remember the date, though.
Yeah, well, I can write down the date and just look it up when I need to. So that's how it works.
So, but you can't write down those slogans. They have to come fresh to you every time.
No, it's just that I wasn't able to come up with them until I was in the right mood, which in this case was right before the show.
So I heard that you had a little throat issue earlier, and we didn't have our regular drink, our sponsor, non-sponsor, not really, so don't sue us, Odwalla. What did you have instead?
Well, I noticed I had an Odwalla in my refrigerator this morning. I was like, well, I have a slightly sore throat. That'd be a good thing to bring to Thinking Liberty and drink, because it's full of vitamins.
I like vitamins.
So I picked it up today, and it said Best Buy May 19th, 2010. I was like, I had this long? So I was like, I didn't really want to bring that. So I brought this big thing of apple juice. So that's what we're running on today.
Aren't those drinks like $3 or $4 a pop?
No, not quite.
Because I remember in college I had a friend that worked for the company that either bought up or became, what was it, Odwalla or Odwalla?
Odwalla.
But it was the same kind of thing. It was this super drink of vitamin goodness, awesomeness, and he, as payment or part of his payment for selling these things, he got like a chest full of them.
Chest full.
Yes, a chest full, and he brought them to college, and for about 3 weeks, the whole gang drank those, and afterwards we ended up like only with the carrot left, because no one wanted to drink the carrot relative to like banana or strawberry or the other fruits, and we started having like withdrawals. It was like we had all these vitamins and nutrients, and then suddenly we were eating like burrito pizza again, and it was just like shock to the system.
So you heard it straight from Bile there. He was in a gang, and they did vitamins.
Straight from the bile. Did vitamins, and he went through withdrawal, but he's cool now. He's fixed himself up.
Went through a 12-step process.
All right,
He did a 2-step process.
That's Bile over there. We also have Tennyson.
What up?
And I'm Darian. Our buddy Bosco is up in New Hampshire right now.
We're going to talk to him later?
We might be.
All right.
We might be using technology to talk to someone
using your
who's
tricknology.
in New Hampshire.
Oh, wait.
Trigonometry.
Not trigonometry. Tricknology.
Tricknology.
The tricknology was done by, Yakub and Yakub's histories. I'll tell you all about it another time. But something I was thinking about as soon as you started mentioning that Odwalla that may or may not have actually been good is this website. Here we go. I'm turning this table that has a computer on it towards Darian, who's to my side, and he's looking at this thing called Still Tasty. It's called stilltasty.com. And the question that they always ask here is keep it or toss it. How long will your favorite food or beverage stay safe and tasty? What's the best way to store it? Get the answers for thousands of items. So if you really want to know what you're storing, pick up any products you may find on the shelf somewhere. Is it still good after that date? What's the difference between a sell-by date, or a buy-by date, or best by date, or whatever kind of date? You might find some information out here. So it might have actually been okay to consume.
It might have, but, I don't really want to take risks like that when Thinking Liberty is involved.
Especially when, I appreciate your dedication here, Darren.
Yeah. It might be funny to get me puking, on air, though. That would be a good thing for our show quality.
Don't make me think about it, because I'll make you puke right now. I'll hit you in the duodenum.
All right. So we have an interactive broadcast going on here. Bio, what are some of the ways our listeners can interact with us?
Oh, they can contact us at our phone number at 919-886-6468. They can call us through Skype. Our Skype name is Thinking Liberty. We've got free agents or fr33agents.net group you can talk to us on. We've got a Facebook fan page. We've got a Twitter account, ThinkNLiberty. And we've got email at contact@thinkingliberty.net. And the interactive way is our chat room at thinkingliberty.net/chat.
And
Yeah,
is that 9 people in the chat?
That chat room is usually pretty awesome, so I know. Is somebody trying to get in the apartment? No. Nobody's trying to get inside.
We do this show from a rubble-strewn piece of factory.
Yeah.
Correct?
I don't know if everybody has seen the picture of the place where we're doing this, but we've managed to keep out the ambient noise, and we got a pretty good closed off area right here inside that place. So
We use the cone of silence.
we have the cone of silence, and we no longer have to scream. And Max and Agent 69 will go off and do something else.
All right. So, what are we gonna do today?
What are we
We're
gonna do?
gonna we're gonna talk is what we're gonna do, and you're gonna listen.
All right,
That's how it works here.
I have an idea. Why don't we talk about, first off, this big thing that I saw on the news even before I left to go to work this morning, talking about the WikiLeaks thing. Oh my gosh, WikiLeaks is everywhere all of a sudden. And imagine that. WikiLeaks wasn't really, too much just a little while ago, and then all of a sudden, putting out one big video like Collateral Murder, and then putting out all these documents, and then, I don't know, they seem to be on some enemy hit list now.
Well, it's a major thing that happened to have all these documents leaked out, and I think this is something that we were talking about when we were saying how you got to do the best you can where you are. Some people inside the U.S. war machine didn't like what they were doing, and they decided to do something positive about it. In this case, shed light on what the government's doing and hold them to public scrutiny. So I haven't looked through the documents.
I have
know
not looked through them either.
a lot of news agencies are combing through them, and they found.
I've seen some really good excerpts, though. So some really good stuff from The Guardian and BBC. Like they've combed through it and found a couple of diamonds in there, and it's just. It seems people are comparing this to the Pentagon Papers. That's what I've been hearing over and over again. So Pentagon Papers seems to be the idea. I don't know what you know about the Pentagon Papers, right?
Well, I have a basic idea of what they were. Daniel Ellsberg leaked what the was it about the Gulf of Tonkin incident?
That was one thing, yes.
One thing, and it just basically all the secrets behind the Vietnam War.
Yeah, it was an early assessment from the Pentagon and from other high up leaders there who had access to the president and people who were making decisions for the war early on, saying that they knew clearly that they had no way to win this thing. And they had already made that decision long ago that what they were going to do is simply, continue fighting in order to save face. And it was revealed to the American public that the generals and the presidents and all the rest of them continued the fighting and the war, the needless deaths of tens of thousands of American soldiers, just to save a little bit of face, even though they already knew that there was no actual way of winning. Continuously telling the American people that no, we're going to turn the tide in this war, we're going to break the back of the resistance, we're going to do whatever, when they'd already known long ago that what the conclusion was going to be, and then that was it.
So what are some of the things that came out in the recent WikiLeaks?
I did see
the Afghan War Diaries.
The Afghan War Diaries.
WikiLeaks.org is a website where people post basically secret documents that they believe should be public.
Yeah. See, what I found there was, I think from The Guardian, was essentially a parallel to the Pentagon Papers thing, which is an assessment early on about what the prospects are in Afghanistan, and it's very, very dim. Apparently, people at the top are talking about just how dim the prospects are right now, and they will continuously send men in there to die, to fight and die for these, useless, needless, meaningless reasons. And that's the reality that they're living with right now.
So why would they do that? Like, what is their motivation, do you think?
That's a good question. I have not found exactly any kind of motivation that I would call a reasonable motivation, or even a statist reasonable motivation.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what their thought process is. Is it? I mean, it seems almost like the common justification: fight them there or fight them here. That if we have all these soldiers there, they're disrupting Al Qaeda and these terrorist networks.
Oh yeah,
it's going to cripple their ability to launch assaults. But then I see these other documents that are talking about how they know where Osama bin Laden was, I don't understand why there wasn't more of an effort to go there, because that's the entire reason for anything going on in
Is it the
Afghanistan.
entire reason? It seems like
Well,
it's really not the entire reason.
For
No,
sure.
is it?
It's the only justified reason. I mean, yeah, people were murdered in America, and Osama bin Laden is probably behind it, so
Right.
you apprehend that guy, and, that's a legitimate, action, even though government's an illegitimate organization, but let's leave that aside. So that's the justification. But it doesn't seem like they're doing that. They're just trying to secure power, like a foothold.
Yes.
A foothold of power for their cronies and the drug lords that are on their side and the warlords they can buy off. And what's the point of all this?
So it seems like one of the original, I'm going to say, conspiracy theories for why they would think of going to Afghanistan in the first place. Something that Dick Cheney had talked about prior to 9/11, something that Bill Clinton had talked about prior to 9/11, was the securing of the pipeline and securing Afghanistan resources. In fact, the news that recently came out about Afghanistan was that they have this amazing stock of natural resources, like I don't know, coltan or whatever the hell it has over there. But now we know that they've got all this stuff. Maybe we should stay for the resources. I don't know.
The Long War.
It's the long war here. So they're trying to get themselves established. They're trying to, get their own people there, people who are pliable. And they have control over this particular region, which is strategically significant. And, of course, they're also considering Iran, which is also very strategically significant because I don't know if anybody has seen this map here. There's a map of countries that have forward U.S. bases in there or places where there are actual U.S. military presence. And all around the world, it seems to be forming something of a ring. There's a ring that's around a particular place of the world, and there's a gap in this ring where they're trying to complete it, and the gap is between Afghanistan and Iraq. And there's a country in between Afghanistan and Iraq known as Iran. And they have to try and maybe get something right there. So, I don't know, turn over a government, get something there, do something may or may not have to happen.
The U.S. has certainly overturned governments in Iran before.
It's a little bit... the old tricks might be some of the best. So it's like, if you got a hand at this thing, I've practiced my hand at playing this particular song. Now, I might want to play this song again just because. So they're going to play that Iran song one of these days, I think. We're going to try.
Well, we'll see. But you bring up a good point that I think a phrase that the state would use would be projecting power. Projecting power, protecting American interests. By that they mean protecting the interests of the state and expanding state power as much as they can, and that's something that is going on, I think, in Afghanistan. The more influence a politician has over an area, the more power they have, and power is really the goal of politicians. So, people are dying, so politicians have more power.
I find it amazing that some people don't even realize that politicians and power is actually a motivator, and politicians aren't just noble do-gooders who have to fight against their evil, moneyed interests who always want to corrupt them doing something or other. But politicians actually are out there because they have a motivation for power. And it seems like it's just incomprehensible to them that that's actually a motivator. And maybe that's a good thing, though, that they can't even see that being a motivation for somebody because they don't want power themselves, so how can anybody else be attracted to it? And that's good. I'm glad those people are out there who don't want power over other people, so they can't even see it. They're completely oblivious to somebody else needing it. But then I try to communicate to them that, no, the motivation isn't just the politicians can get their hands on a little bit of money, which they can, but they actually like getting power over other people.
Yeah,
they have the feeling. They get a little feel on it.
I think it's a thing like, if I was in charge, the world would be better. Here are the things I would do to make the world a better place. So the idea of personal power becomes caught up in the common good. And I think this is clear when you see politicians talking about the common good, the national interest, and it always ends up with them being in power. I don't think it's just because they're dishonest. If they're lying to anybody, they're lying to themselves because they think about it as, my personal power gain is good for the nation because I know what's right for the nation.
Exactly.
So I'm going to do the best ruling I can, and that's how we're going to move forward.
Yeah, then little bit of motivation for a motivation for a motivation. So your motivation may be power, but your motivation for the power may be to do good. And it seems like that's really all that everybody tries to do, because, like the Socratic Aristotelian point, which is that people, they can't knowingly do what they think is bad. They will always do what they think is good. So even if they say like it might be a bad thing, they're doing it because they favor it. They view it as good and beneficial to them in some way. And so they're doing good in their own sense, but it's not good objectively good. So then you want to get into a whole ethics discussion.
So I think WikiLeaks is doing a great job of providing a means for people to actually get this information out there, and a central location that people can put stuff online, and then they distribute it. They bring attention to it.
And it's not it. I think their name WikiLeaks is a little deceptive, because when you think of like Wikipedia or Wikicommons, you think of this completely open, or just about completely open, public means to publish information, like libertyactivism.info,
right,
where anyone can create an account and publish, whatever. But WikiLeaks is much more methodical about things. It makes sure mainly it's about the providing of a means to safely and anonymously give them the information, and then they have a small but dedicated team of hackers and journalists that go and write the software to visualize the data and provide the data, but then make sure that data in the first place is legitimate, and it's not, as far as they know, they've never posted anything that is bogus. And they've posted quite a bit of stuff, so that goes a long way to their credibility. And I think that in particular is the most important aspect of it, not the fact that they, not in the general sense that they've provided it a place to hold the data, because anyone can do that. It's that they've set up an easy way to give them the data, and they have dedicated people that will make sure that the data they're getting is legit.
And I think it's a great thing, not just, the holding things up to public scrutiny, exposing them. That's a great thing in itself. But WikiLeaks, even though it has this dedicated team, it's still a participatory effort. They get stuff from people who have access to certain data, and this enables those people to contribute to doing justice and bringing about more liberty in the world. So I think that's a great thing, that it kind of, and it gets out the idea that, yes, you can do something about all this. You can hold this up to public scrutiny, and there is now a big debate on this. What anti-war rally in the last several years, even the last like what anti-war rally since the invasion of Iraq has really created as much of a discussion in the public as WikiLeaks has done?
Nothing. WikiLeaks runs the gamut from these guys should be shot or hung,
yes,
to
I've seen those suggestions too.
To these guys are international heroes. So the gambit is huge. There's certainly no consensus, and the media it seems to be conflicted as to how to deal with this. You've got obvious biases with different hosts and whatnot, but
right,
it's not clear that there's, like in many stories, one sort of push from all the news agencies towards a certain predestined opinion on this.
Yeah, in some way it threatens them because it's a new way of doing journalism, but in some way it provides them with new sources, and people are actually looking at what The Guardian has to say about all these things, and people are looking at what the New York Times has to say and things like that. So
it's kind of like it's dancing with the devil for them, because they realize that they're dealing with something that could actually potentially destroy them. It's an entirely new model of doing anything, and it's not something that they're ever comfortable with. The idea that they continuously dismiss bloggers and other people as unserious non-journalists who shouldn't be invited to any of these things, and when they have the scoop, they have to go to them, and they realize that they are the news, and they no longer have this access that they used to have. So either they cover it and they lower themselves down to either raising these people's credibility, or they cover it and lower their own credibility, or they decide to ignore it and completely try and they end up obliviating themselves
and look irrelevant.
Yes, which they kind of are already.
And you mentioned it's a new model of doing things. I don't know if it's new, but the emphasis on actual investigative, inside sources rather than embedded reporters or repeating what a politician says as, that's the objective news. It's certainly different from what we're used to seeing.
Absolutely. And I repeat the NBC slogan, which is that if you ain't seen it, it's new to you. So this is the kind of thing that I personally have not seen in my lifetime, so it's new to me. It may have existed back in the 19th century, the early 20th century, where this real investigative journalism really went on. And things had to be done because they were forced to by competitive, it was a real competition between sources where people could really get kind of news one place and they really couldn't get it somewhere else. And this is new. Something else that I wanted to talk about is that WikiLeaks seems to have found a way to actually create credibility in this anarchic world of internet online anonymity. And it's something amazing. People always talk about how exactly do I create a presence or credibility on the internet when anybody could be on there. Anybody could say anything at all. And they seem to have cracked this problem.
And how have they done that? Just by being so open and being so widespread that anybody could refute them, but nobody's ever able to?
It seems like that's really the thing. Put yourself out there in a vulnerable position, and if you turn out to be correct, then your vulnerable position is recognized and you get credibility that way.
It's not just that. I mean, that's I think that's a big part of it, but it's also what it is that they're putting out there in the first place.
Oh, yeah.
They're putting out, in some cases, very dangerous information on their part. And states are willing to murder over state secrets.
Absolutely.
And so
like America.
Right. Well, any state. And so you've got information. Now, I don't know what the most serious thing they've leaked has been, but they certainly have had international impact and localized impact based on the things that they've released. They've caused elections to change relative to what they likely would have been.
Yes.
And so the fact that they're putting out something so extreme or potentially so extreme, and they're open, and they can say fairly strongly that, or fairly confidently that nothing we've put out has been fake. That's I think it's because they're such a degree away from the average open platform that they kind of stick out.
Yeah. And it's absolutely true. In order to get these kinds of sources in the first place, that's amazing to be in that position. And somebody else asked about Julian Assange, whether he's an anarchist or not. And yes, in fact, he is an anarcho-libertarian, and he's pretty much just like the people here hosting this show. In fact, a friend of mine, knew Julian a long time ago, back in New York.
It figures. Tennyson would, of all the people here, Tennyson's the one who knows people who knows people.
Yeah,
Go on.
I know someone who knows someone, and probably I'm like 2-3 degrees separated from Julian, and so he is. But
I believe you. It's just funny because Tennyson always seems to know everybody. That's
I try to keep contact with all these people because it's one of my other Agorist strategies here. In order to create a web of actual trust, we have to try and get to know each other.
Even if we didn't have Tennyson here to confirm, at least even though it's secondhand information, I think if you listen to the way he speaks,
yes.
You can pick up the clues. Actually, Tennyson and I were talking about this before the show, how about Penn Jillette, and we were discussing how radical is Gillette relative to other famous.
I don't think he's radical, but
so we were discussing, and I was saying, well, you can pick up clues from people's language pretty well, or at least I think I can. So, like Ron Paul, even though he talks about closing off the border, if you really listen, you can hear all these like things that he slips in to show that his persona that he puts on for his role as a government official is less radical than his personal beliefs. For instance, when he was interviewed by the Motorhome Diary guys, and they asked him about anarchy and personal secession, and he's just like, "Yeah, sure."
Right.
So I think that those kind of statements gives you a look into their personal beliefs.
So,
Speaking-
Tennyson, did you want to finish this story about how you?
Oh,
must-
yeah. So-
I kind of just like bombarded you there as
Yeah.
like.
It's
I interrupted you with like kind of praise
yes.
that I don't know if really
Signor
came across.
Signor Bombastico over here. He has bombarded. So I can say it like I was Antonio Banderas. He bombarded you. So yeah, but so Julian. Okay, a friend of mine that I'm not sure that any of you have met, but I had him on my own chat here like a while back, and so we were talking, and after the first WikiLeaks, after the first Collateral Murder, that's when I found out from him that he had known Julian back then. He, both of them shared those same anarchist libertarian politics, and that was it's fascinating. So I'm wondering if Julian actually has a strong hand in putting an end to the war. It'll be very fascinating. It'll be like an anarchist libertarian end of the war. And
Yeah. You know that?
Yeah.
That was us.
that was us. We did that. Now what?
All right.
Yeah.
So, a great thing that I heard is that Julian Assange is going to be on antiwar.com radio. Is that my?
I haven't heard that, but I imagine he will be.
I
So
believe that.
yeah,
So,
Scott's good. Scott should get him.
So so check that out, antiwar.com and Antiwar Radio. They're also on the Liberty Radio Network, as well as Thinking Liberty. That's LRN.FM. And we're on thinkingliberty.net. Are you confirming this anti-war radio thing there?
Yeah,
or?
I'm just looking it up right now while you're talking. Not that I'm not paying attention to you, of course.
Okay. But once you get that, I think we're going to take a break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about some government boondoggles and government priorities.
Oh, look, he was already
promotional
on.
materials, free markets, and all that other stuff that we usually talk about.
So from a quick Google, it looks like Julian was actually already on back on tax day of this year, and he will probably be on again a little bit later. So
All right. So that's antiwar.com.
yeah, look forward to that.
And we're thinkingliberty.net, and we will be back shortly.
All right.
What you give to me, never often help.
And we are back on thinkingliberty.net, the show that puts first and puts second after first.
That is very, very good. It's the same thing that we want to do with our listeners here. So just in case you listeners out there, you come first. Not second, but first.
All right, so what I want to talk about after that first is that we have some new promotional materials out, thanks to Lore, who's not here.
Yeah, where is Laura tonight anyway? She's always here.
I think she's at her mother's house.
Well, see her next week anyway.
Yes.
So we got some stuff up there. We got a brand new, awesome logo that's got, a Lucha Libre mask, and then, it says
Lucha Liberty.
It says Thinking Liberty, Bombastic Talk Radio. Then we got, a thing with wrestlers, and it's,
So
yeah.
If you go to thinkingliberty.net/promote, which is also on the main page, you can see the images that we've got up there. The circular one that he was referring to is the one that's going on Marv as our Liberty on Tour advertisement. And the other ones were Lure just having fun with the whole idea. She got a Lucha Libre mask from a coworker, and so that's her in the picture. We were taking snapshots and stuff.
Oh, that's what that was. All
right. So, I'm just worried that with all this talk of Bombastic Talk Radio, are we going to be able to live up to the standard that our promotional ads are creating?
It's all you.
It's all you. You're the bombastic part of this talk.
You're Mr.
radio.
Bombastic.
So that means that I'm the most important one. Part.
Exactly.
So I could just fire you guys at will.
That's right.
And get celebrities on board.
There you go.
That's
so,
cool.
We're
I'll take
going
my
to
means
form a
of
union.
production and go home.
See, we're going to form a union. There was an interesting ad up there above the chat. I don't know what was going on in that chat over there, but it was just meet the best gay singles over there. So now
it still says that.
Yeah, now it's
just
meet
attractive singles.
So
but it's all pictures of guys.
Oh, okay. I
you
can't
sure
see
that
that. From
that one
where
there's a
I'm
guy? Yeah, he's
They're
a
all
guy. It's
guys.
definitely a dude. It's a dude. Yeah.
I don't know. Google apparently thinks that our chat room is hankering for single men.
Yeah.
All right. So we got some man sex going on. Apparently, I don't know.
Someone's got obsession for men on over there.
Man-to-man action.
Hot
Which
man
is
on
fine
man
and all, but I haven't been paying attention to the chat room, but I didn't see that. So either Google's algorithms are really
Google has a filthy algorithm.
I wonder if maybe somehow anarchism and gay homosexuality, male homosexuality, has somehow been linked within Google's algorithms, and so now because
Anarchy is gay.
Perhaps.
How'd I get that? All right.
So I don't know. Maybe we should complain to Google.
I don't know.
Then
Would it be
again-
for the children?
Then again, who
Isn't it always?
how many anarchist advertisements, full banner advertisements, could there be?
Just a
I
couple.
don't
Like
know.
the Storage Anarchist. I get his banner ad all the time. Have you seen the Storage Anarchist?
No.
All right. I get this in my Gmail, the ads for Storage Anarchist all the time. I don't know who he is exactly, but apparently he works for some IT company. He's an anarchist, but he works in storage technology. So his whole blog is about storage technology from a unique perspective.
I guess there's a niche for everything.
There's a niche for everything. We did not invent the algorithm. The algorithm consistently finds Jesus. The algorithm killed Jeeves. The algorithm is banned in China. The algorithm is from Jersey. The algorithm constantly finds Jesus. This is not the algorithm. This is close. Where's that from?
I don't know. Is that what you type in the algorithm on Google? 'Cause
No.
You get some fun things when you type stuff into Google.
I type some
suggestions.
crazy ass things into Google sometimes, but
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
let's see if anybody from the chat room knows where that quote is actually from. That would be interesting. Yes, and what is that couch activist saying over there? Yes, I mentioned the couch activist on the air because he's pretty cool. What else comes after the WikiLeaks we think we were talking about?
Let's talk about some local boondoggles. 'Cause
local
boondoggle is a fun word to use, and
It's almost as good as bombastic. Not quite.
we bombastically bombard the boondoggles in this bitchin' program.
I'm gonna have to cue up that song, Mr. Bombastic, then next time.
So-
Please don't.
That's gonna be Darian's intro song now.
So a recent post I saw, it was from an Associated Press article, and it was mainly talking about Chris Christie, the governor of New Jersey, restructuring the whole gambling and entertainment complex that the state is involved in for some reason. I guess because they want to be the mafia too.
Wait,
And
aren't they
sometimes
already
are
the mafia?
too.
They're pretty much the mafia already, right?
Yeah,
He was starting to score some points for at least the rhetoric that he was giving with a lot of people. But this throws it all out the window. I mean, to claim that you need to cut money from education, so that you can then funnel
875 million taxpayer dollars.
You could
into
hold
the
the world for
Xanadu
ransom.
project, which, go ahead.
It's just absolutely ugly. I wrote in my Center for Stateless Society, C4SS.org, commentary on this that this complex it rises above the horizon as you're driving up the turnpike, and it looks like some giant child just had a bunch of mismatched Legos and he threw them together. It's all different colors.
The Turnpike of New Jersey, by the way, as you get past the Meadowlands.
Yeah, and it's
That's your frustration right there. I'm showing him a picture of his frustration.
All right, Tennyson is showing pictures on the radio again.
Yes.
If you go to Wikipedia and look up Xanadu,
Zach got it. Yes, it was. Xanadu as well. Speaking of things that start with X, XKCD. That was the one that got the quote that I was talking about earlier. And Xanadu over in Jersey. So say it.
Yeah, the Meadowlands Xanadu. If you look it up in Wikipedia, you can find an article about it and a photo. Look at the photo. When I first saw it, I had thought that, well, maybe they were just covering. Like they were doing, they were working on the outside of the building or the inside of the building. They need like temporary covering.
I gotta see this thing.
And so they just put up like random sheets of colored things.
Yeah, like they can't be finished with this thing.
It's just an abomination. And Chris Christie rightfully said it's probably the worst looking thing in New Jersey. It's probably the worst looking thing in the United States, if not the world. It is awful.
It's kind of funny looking. I'm here on Google Images looking at it. It's like, that's
and
interesting.
this is from the New Jersey Turnpike view standard too.
Yeah, which is not all. Well, the North Jersey Turnpike. If you go past like exit 7, it's actually very nice down there.
Yeah, I mean, well, anybody who judges an entire state by what they see from the major highway is an idiot anyway. So, but the reason why he wants to put all this money into it is because it's already the state's already dumped like $2 billion into it or something.
Is it the state or is it like in total $2 billion has been spent?
I'm not sure actually. But
I doubt the state funded $2 billion, because that would have been like it. I guess it's possible, but even I would be flabbergasted that the state would spend $2 billion on that abomination. People, this thing was supposed to have an indoor ski slope.
Well, there
slope?
is a big ramp area. They just never built anything inside of it because
I think that's supposed to be the ski slope.
Yeah, that's what the ski slope is supposed to be.
It's just crazy, and it would when or if it's finished, it was destined to be the biggest or just about the biggest mall in the world.
The biggest mall in the United States.
Or in the US.
One of the biggest malls in the world. I think number 3, generally, depending on how you rank them by full area or by rentable area. Number 1 is someplace in communist China. Not surprisingly, it's like the Marxist regimes. If you do something really big,
They build big.
Then people won't notice. All the people who died trying to build this thing.
It's like building the Moscow subway there. It's a pretty cool subway, no doubt.
I don't know. When I'm looking at the map of the Moscow subway, it doesn't look like it would be as convenient as, say, the New York subway, because almost everything goes into like the center of the city, and then there's like one line that goes around a circle kind of in the middle. It's like, I don't know. It seems like it's kind of this centralized idea taken too far. I've never rode on it though, so maybe it's really convenient. But
It's not just about the directions and all. That's so proletarian. No, think about it.
My petty bourgeois ideas
your
of
petty
getting to where I want to go in a reasonable amount of time.
Says you and your petty bourgeois ideas about being there on time and schedules and blah 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 blah. No, look at the beauty of the thing. thing
The
is
trains
beautiful.
go back and forth.
Yeah, look at that. It's
And
a museum.
the people
down
are
there.
happy.
Yeah, it's a museum down there. Who cares if thousands of people died building it?
So fortunately, not that many people died building Xanadu, but it is ironic that when schools are being funding cuts for schools and public transportation are going on, that the governor thinks that, hey, $875 million in this thing is a good investment. Somehow it'll pay off. And of course, we're anarchists on the show, so we don't want government doing anything, which includes schools and transportation. But to me, the reason why you can't reform from the top is it involves cutting things out from under people that they're used to relying on. You have to reform from the bottom up so people have new things that they can participate in rather than being reliant on the state. And also, when you reform from the top, it's going to be administered by administrators. And these administrators or bureaucrats will find a way to preserve their own jobs while cutting out things for people who, actually do some reasonably useful, reasonably productive, and valuable work.
That's probably true. But if I were king, everything would be different.
There would be a lot of technology.
There would be a lot of technology, a lot less tricknology. There you
A
go.
lot less trickonology
Tricknology.
and more hang gliders and auto gyros and fewer auto gyros.
Auto gyros.
And people would pronounce things better.
Yeah, they certainly would. Just because it'd be expected of them.
All right, so what can we do about all this government waste? I mean, I mentioned reform from the bottom up so people have new things to rely on, but is it just a matter of pointing out this ridiculous crap? And
Something like this is hard. I don't know, like in the specific sense, what you can do about it. I think you can publicize the crap out of it so that everyone knows how ridiculous it is. I think just providing a picture in this case is enough, probably. But showing how much money was invested, how much more money they want to invest, and then maybe try to point out where they're trying to take money from. So even though money's fungible, they're taking money out of one thing and then they're advocating money for this other thing. And his excuse is, well, they've already dumped $2 billion into it. It's like, well, that's not a good excuse. Like, it was built during the height of the bubble because these people had stars in their eyes and didn't realize that these bubbles stop after a while, and they got stuck and. Too fucking bad. Like, you invested a bunch of money into something that was unviable, and you should pay the consequences for that. Unfortunately, the rest of us have to see this thing, and
It's just seeing.
and I don't know what
the
the hell it could be useful for, if anything. But it's just like the stadiums. I mean,
It looks like you can ski in there.
Yeah, but I don't know that anyone would want to buy it and turn it into anything where you could actually use. And then you've got the issues additionally with the stadiums. Didn't the Nets and the Devils or something leave the stadium that?
the Izod Center. It's sponsored by Izod now.
It's a pretty good center. I've been there.
The actual teams left it that used it, so now it's just used sometimes for concerts. I guess it's used occasionally by other teams, like maybe some colleges sometimes have events there or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's like they built this giant thing in the middle of the swamp, and they didn't even have good public transit there for a while. So it's like they're trying to encourage drunk driving by this thing, and now they're seeing the fallout from it. And to government, if something's too big, they can't let it fail on their own time. It has to be propped up by money taken money taken coercively. And I said in my Center for a Stateless Society article that the government mentality is, we've dug ourselves into a hole, so we better get more shovels. And that's what it is. And because they're not paying for the shovels, they get other people to pay for them. And once they have a big enough hole, they can slap their name on it and say, "Look what I did for the glory of the people."
That is beautiful there, though.
So,
All hail Xanadu.
All hail Xanadu.
Xander.
Just throwing Xander in there. I'm thinking of Xander Cruz, of course, but if you know who Xander Cruz is, then you'll know why I'm... No Xander Cruz? Xander Cruz? No? If Brent were here, you know.
We're useless. What can I say?
I know. It's awful.
You need to get better co-hosts.
I gotta get some people who watch Adult Swim, at least.
Yeah, I'll gladly take a don't know any of that, Mark.
Ugh.
All right, so we of course had some, suggestions in the chat room about what to do about this, like abolish the state. That is the long-term solution.
Oh, hey,
We're talking about, in the meantime, like how do we get there? And I think part of it is what we're saying. You just create, means to spread the ideas. WikiLeaks does it. Thinking Liberty does it on a much smaller scale. But, we got awesome shirts.
We do. We do it on a much cooler scale.
And speaking of which, I should do my weekly promotion. So the show is done, on our dime, and if you would like to help out Thinking Liberty, promoting the show, we pay for advertisements through Facebook. We're on the Liberty on Tour. We've got... I think I'm supposed to pay Taryn Lupo so we can get into his ebook about agorist businesses. If you would like to help out, go to thinkingliberty.net/donate, and I put up a fancy WordPress plugin that allows you to use PayPal to pay, and you can say what you want to say, and it'll give you you can choose whether or not you want to post something publicly to everyone to see based on your donation, and whether or not you want your donation to show, and how much money we've raised. It's all kinds of fancy. So if you're interested in helping us spread liberty, help you, please go to the donate page and send us a couple bucks. You can even subscribe too now. So you could subscribe and give us $3 a month, or the Free Talk Live AMP program, or whatever you want. Or $1,000 a month.
Can you get in for 50 cents a week or something?
Yeah, probably.
Oh,
Actually,
cool.
I don't know if I put in weekly, but I can if I did.
Because our show is weekly. I figured
That's
maybe
true, that's
50.
true.
Yeah, if you do 50 cents a week, that's $2 a month. $2-3 a month seems to be pretty good for any individual listener. That'd be pretty amazing. Anyway,
that way, when
I'm going to do my
you're,
promotion
sweating
eventually.
it out at work, and you're thinking about how much your money is going to support taxes and war machines, you can be like, well, at least I'm putting some of this work towards Thinking Liberty.
Yeah. So I'm eventually going to, work on the script for my promo there. What did I say was the idea? You don't even know what the hell
was
I
it
wrote.
Did you actually tell
was
us?
it look better?
No, it was okay. Close. It's called Lose Weight, Gain Liberty.
Lose weight, gain liberty.
Lose
See,
weight,
we have
gain
this
liberty.
whole idea to create. Tennyson might do this separately, but in general we have this idea of creating fake commercials, both for the show and I guess they wouldn't be fake commercials, but
Yeah,
sort
the
of
other ones wouldn't be
strange commercials for the show, and then just fake commercials that we could play randomly throughout the show.
Yeah, like advertisements for the military-industrial complex. We're going to need those. We're going to have advertisements for, pharmaceutical companies to put your kids on drugs so they get better grades, things like that.
It'll be good. So when Thinking Liberty goes huge, we can make sure that the Alex Jones types are accusing us of working for the man.
Well, Alex Jones is the one who gave me a sore throat. He was using biological warfare on me, and I beat him with apple juice. I didn't even need to use Odwalla because it was expired, which is probably Alex Jones' fault too.
Do you have any evidence for your position?
Yes, I can shout you down.
Okay, see?
With my radio show.
The less evidence you have, the more likely the conspiracy is to be true.
Yeah, because it's simpler. You see how it works.
There you go.
You're not trying to muddy the waters with all this evidence stuff. It's just, it's just straight up.
Evidence.
So
It's don't you realize the conspiracy is so perfect and strong that they've eliminated the evidence? And see, the fact that there is no evidence is evidence of the conspiracy.
The fact that you're questioning it proves that you're a part of the conspiracy.
Exactly. The people who know about it don't do that.
So simple, so simple.
So,
Evidence is for suckers.
I know.
So there you go. Support Thinking Liberty, the show that knows that evidence is for suckers.
Like you. Oh, wait.
Whoa.
We appreciate our listenership.
We appreciate our listeners because
Especially when they donate.
they are first.
Or promote.
Yes.
Yes,
Because that's what the donations are for. So if you get out there and promote us. Oh, speaking of which, also on the promote page, for anyone who's too lazy to do it themselves, I put up QR codes for thinkingliberty.net and
What does that even mean?
what the hell's QR stand for?
QR.
I forget.
Reaction.
That's what it seemed like.
No, but they're if you look at an advertisement, you see this little or like a package. It's like a barcode. It's a fancy barcode, and you can encode data in it. And so a lot of AndroidSpin.com, for instance, use them. So when you want to download an application, they put the QR code on there, so you can take your phone, scan the QR code, and it'll automatically pop up with the URL, and you can just hit a button, and it'll automatically take you there on the website. So if you're for instance, they do it in the subway too. So there's a union or something that advertises in the New York subway, and they have a QR code, so you can get to their website by just taking your phone and scanning it.
Yeah,
so if you want
guys and your trick knowledge,
I know.
I know.
See, it actually stands for quick response. Good guess there, Aaron.
I was thinking of the cruise. What was that?
Cruise. It starts
Not
with Q.
Cruisin' World. Was it Cruisin' World? I don't know. No, Outrunners.
Outrunners.
Where there's a car called Quick Reactor.
There you go.
That's what I was.
You'll
thinking.
know exactly what it looks like.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
I know what it looks.
But the
Now he knows.
So now there's 2 QR codes. I might put others. Probably for the donate page would probably be good.
Yeah.
But one is for the main URL. The other one is for the podcast RSS feed.
Okay.
So if you print out a flyer or whatnot, you can just put that graphic on there, and people can scan it with their phone and automatically get the podcast.
That's awesome.
That is very awesome.
So there you go. thinkingliberty.net/promote to promote Thinking Liberty. And there you go. And to someone in the chat room, they were joking about the abolish the government. Like, yeah, I know that's a long term. You got to sure in terms of we know.
Hey.
We agree with you. We're just discussing stuff here.
It was a joke.
It was a joke. You're a joke.
We get jokes.
We do the humor thing on this show.
I get jokes.
I get jokes.
I don't know about this guy over here.
This guy.
He gets bombastic. That's what he gets.
So, Tennyson, you were saying that you were talking to someone, and they said, if there's anything I'm against, it's the free market.
Yes, this was...
What do you think of this?
This was last week. Me and some coworkers, we went out to eat, had a little fun, and something came, somebody mentioned, he's an anarchist. As for some reason people like to talk about me. And so we got into a little discussion. We're talking about anarchy, and I'm telling them about, different anarchist solutions to different problems, and how different anarchist schools exist, and how communist anarchists might answer a certain question or deal with a certain thing. And, most people are pretty into it. And I told them that I'm actually more of an adherent to the market anarchist school. And so... an explanation of market anarchism and why it makes more sense. Most people get this. But then another person who comes up and says that first, human beings are evil, and that is why they can't go with any of this other stuff, because human beings are evil. They're going to do evil, terrible, horrible things. And another thing was that she's against the free market. And she says that, she doesn't really have too much of what she defines as her philosophy, but she says if there's anything at all that she's against, it's the free market. And I didn't go into detail asking her what exactly she meant by the term free market, because I figure, how could you be against the free market? I mean, would you like to starve or something? I don't know what what her thing was, but just imagining whatever kind of answer somebody could have to a claim like that is just astounding. So... what have you ever encountered anything like this?
Well, a lot of times I see the word free market used as something that's outside of human beings. I mention this on the show sometimes that the thought is that the free market is something outside of us. It's these functionings of backroom deals and guys in suits who are commodifying everything we do and everything we are, and they're making money off of us, and they're just free to run through our lives and profit off of us without giving us any of the cut. And I mean, to me, that's like, well, what's so free about that? I mean, like, okay, I get it that if you think that the market is something separate, then you're gonna have something that's, you don't want it to be free to run over all of us. But to me, the market is just any exchange, especially mainly exchanges based on some kind of monetary medium. And,
Right.
Anytime we exchange things, we're being part of the market. So we should be free to exchange things as we want. We shouldn't have to have all these, privileged interests saying how we can and can't exchange, how we can and can't do business.
Yeah.
That's where I go from that.
I mean, that sounds like something that I probably would get into it if I wanted to continue talking to somebody that I worked with about this kind of issue. But I'm not really interested in doing this at work so much. And so, like, we're kind of cool. We're kind of cool and all. But, like, she's fascinating. That's probably the best word I'm going to use. It's a good charitable word. Fascinating. That's what she is.
Okay, Bosco just called us. Do we want to take his call now, or do
We
we
got
want to have a
Bosco?
short break, or we want to just...
Let's probably do a
let's
break
just-
before then so we can cue this up.
Well,
right?
I'm trying to get him to call back. It seemed like there was a connection problem.
See,
All
even
right.
better.
I'll just bring him in as soon as he calls in.
Well,
so.
why don't maybe we should take a break?
Yeah, do
it's
a
at 9 o'clock anyway.
9 o'clock
so,
break.
All right, take a break, and then when we come back, we'll talk with Bosco. Maybe we'll talk about this idea that humans are evil, so a free market won't work out.
There you go.
And see what we have to say about that. And you're listening to Thinking Liberty on thinkingliberty.net and Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
Wrap it up.
Last week I left a note on Laura's desk. It said, "I love you," signed anonymous friend. Turns out she's smarter than I thought she was. She knows I wrote it now, the whole class does too, and I'm all alone during couple skate. When she skates by with some guy on her arm, but I know that I'll forget pity in her face. Living in my solar dome on a platform in space, 'cause it's gonna be the future soon, and I won't always be this way. When the things that make me weak and strange get engineered away, it's gonna be the future soon. I've never seen it quite so clear. And when my heart is breaking, I can close my eyes and it's already here. I'll probably be some kind of scientist, building inventions in my space lab in space. I'll end world hunger, I'll make dolphins speak. Work through the daytime, spend my nights and weekends perfecting my warrior robot race. Building them one laser gun at a time. I will do my best to teach them about life and what it's worth. Just hope that I can keep them from destroying the earth, 'cause it's gonna be the future soon, and I won't always be this way. When the things that make me weak and strange get engineered away, it's gonna be the future soon. I've never seen it quite so clear. And when my heart is breaking, I can close my eyes, and it's already here on earth. They'll wonder as I piece by piece replace myself, and the steel and circuits will make me whole. But I still feel so alone until Laura calls me home. And I'll see her standing by the monorail. She'll look the same except for bionic eyes. She lost the real ones in the robot wars. I'll say I'm sorry, she'll say it's not your fault, or is it? And she'll eye me suspiciously, hearing the whir of the servos inside, and she'll scream and try to run, but there's nowhere she can hide. When a crazy cyborg wants to make you his robot bride, well, it's gonna be the future soon, and I won't always be this way. When the things that make me weak and strange get engineered away, it's gonna be the future soon. I've never seen it quite so clear. And when my heart is breaking, I can close my eyes, and it's already here.
We're back on Thinking Liberty, the show that's broadcast live from the future on thinkingliberty.net.
This is bringing you the future today. And speaking of the future, it seems like we have on site our on-site reporter over there. His name is Bosco. So can you hear us at all, Bosco? Just give us a word.
Yes, I can hear you, Tennyson.
Very, very good. See, I like having you hear me because I like hearing me, so I can imagine everyone else loves to hear me.
I'm sure you have tapes of yourself at home that you listen to over and over and over.
It's pretty awesome sometimes. I got my own DAT collection, CD collection. No.
All right, so Bosco is he travels through time at the speed of regular time, and he's traveled to New Hampshire. What are you doing up there, Bosco?
Right now, I'm in Grafton, land of the free, home of the free. I'm hanging out with some people. I'm hanging out with Jason Talley, a guy named Ryan, Antigone. They say hi. And we are
say
sitting
hi
around
back.
a fire
What up?
right now that we've got burning.
Fire?
On Agorist Acres.
What's this Agorist Acres, and why are they setting things on fire?
Because that's what Agorists do. They set things on fire.
Only criminals set things on fire.
It's a spot. Let's see, we're sitting on about 5 acres, and we've got some people staying here in motorhomes and all kinds of stuff, and they're working to help build a voluntary society. So they're looking into community programs and things like that they can do. Really trying to get to know their neighbors and just do a lot of good stuff up here.
Okay, that's cool. So Agorist Acres up by Grafton, New Hampshire, and it just seems like it's like an idea to build a new community. I guess maybe a new society on the outskirts of the old that will hopefully help people influence how the new society is going to be.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, community being the operative word. So, trying to be friendly with their neighbors, trying to compete with the government to provide better services for all sorts of different things, including stuff like road maintenance and things like that. It's neat. I was actually really, really surprised when I got up here just how many people are up in Grafton. I mean, there's like a meetup right now going on at a pizza place. There's a lot going on. It's very cool to see.
So is it like a giant ranch where you drive down a driveway and there's this big gate that says Agorist Acres, or is it like, underneath all this camouflage netting and machine gun towers, or how does the Agorist Acres...
They got machine gun turrets over there, and it says Autobot Mach
There's no
free.
machine gun towers. There's actually a pretty cool sign from some old rusted trailer hitches, basically, and it forms 2 A's, the Agorist Acres logo. There's a bunch of people together, like I said, in RVs, next to a paved road, and then there's 2 Class 6 roads to either side of that. So it's nice. It's like, let's see, how can I describe it? Kind of like an open, cleared area with woods in the back. We were clearing some trees today. My friend Peter taught me how to use a chainsaw, which was cool, so I got to do that today.
That sounds like an interesting place. Is it like, is there electricity out on the RVs? Is there solar, or is it just, at the moment it's just RVs in a field and, starting from the ground up?
There's electricity. There's a well for water. There's internet access via 3G. I think they actually get up here on this edge. There's cell phone reception. So all that stuff is up here. There's an outhouse. I started helping them build today a bathhouse, basically an outdoor shower. So we're working on putting that together.
Wait, Bosco.
Not everybody has like an RV with the indoor shower and all that kind of stuff.
People never took
there's
showers
a
prior
lot here.
to...
Wait, what?
People didn't take showers prior to Bosco's appearance here. So what did they do before this?
What they do before then, they have showers in the RVs.
Oh,
So
showers.
people
in
still
the-
take showers. There's
Nice.
just fewer of them.
Okay, we have a question coming from the chat room. How did Nature Boy Bosco not know how to use a chainsaw?
That's a good question.
Actually, I've never used a chainsaw today, and I learned how to use it. And the very, very first thing I did with it was try some wacky wood joinery that that Peter wanted me to try. He's like, "Yeah, we can hold together the bottom parts of the sill plates that sit on top of the foundation using this technique, and you can do it with a chainsaw." And he can do it with a chainsaw. I can kind of halfway do it. I made a very poor-looking joint, so I went back and did the other one with like a circular saw and a handsaw. It's getting a little bit better. But I think the whole top part of the shower is going to be lap joints, and I might do those with the chainsaw because they're kind of easy.
Okay, so that's cool. How long are you going to be up there?
I'm staying up till Friday. So actually tomorrow I plan to keep working on the shower. Thursday I'm going down to Hookset to go visit the Scholars Academy. I'm
that's what
meeting
I
with
like.
someone from there. They're going to give me a tour, do some cool stuff like that, and we can chat. Then after that I kind of got my Friday free. Not entirely sure what I'm going to do. I got to give Jack a call. So he might want to hang out, do something. So, there's there till Friday, and then I'm coming back Friday night, pretty much.
Okay, so what's the Scholars Academy that you're going to, real quick?
Really, what they're looking to do is build an alternative kind of to the public school system. So they're getting kids. I'm not sure what ages they have in it right now. They're doing summer programs. I think they're also doing full-time charter school type stuff. So I think they have an approved charter, and they will be taking some of the population that would normally go to public school and putting them through a different kind of school.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so you're in Agorist Acres now. If somebody wanted to visit Agorist Acres or possibly even, think about emigrating to Agorist Acres, what should they do? Should they get in contact with someone? Should they just, drive by if they're in the region?
Your best source, they're like doing tours and stuff like that, so people are coming by all the time. Your best bet, I'd say, is to go to the Free Grafton website. I believe it's freegrafton.com. All right, there you go, freegrafton.com. It's up. It's relatively recent, as I recall. I got some good information up there. If you're looking for people to contact, you could contact Jason Talley. He's a good one, too.
Cool. So what? I guess your overall impression of what's going on in New Hampshire is pretty positive.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that's really surprised me, because I visited Keene before, I've done a social Sunday there, or maybe a couple, seen different people at Pork Fest and stuff like that. It's really cool to come to the state and see how it's spread out, and you got a bunch of people, attacking this problem from different angles, anxious to work together and anxious to build something better. So there really is something for everybody, which is cool.
Well, that's cool. It sounds like kind of a marketplace of ideas. There's no top-down command structure. There are different people trying to go about the problem in their own way, and we'll see who succeeds. So
That's true. And not only is there a marketplace of ideas, there's also a kick-ass marketplace of food. So actually, I had one of, definitely this year's best salad I've ever had, but definitely one of the top salads I ever had. I had today, and it was chicken and spinach, and there was something sweet. It was like cranberries, and if you come to Agorist Acres, you can participate in the marketplace here and get yourself some good food as well.
So, unlike a boring talk about Robert's Rules of Order and how we're going to have our candidates increase their vote totals from 1% to 2%, or what principles we have to throw away to wield power, you can go there, get awesome food while you're participating in a new community of liberty lovers.
There you go, and you can sit around a campfire and you can talk ideology, or you can work. There's still work that needs to be done, stuff that needs to be cleared. So it's good. It's got a very, very good feel.
So it sounds like a functional community that people are finding a way to contribute to for, individual gain.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. You
Yes,
got it.
exactly. All right. So, wait, when are you going to be heading to the Scholars Academy?
Who am I visiting there?
No, when are you going to be doing it?
Oh, I'm going down Thursday, 10 a.m.
Thursday. Okay. Well, if you see Kate Richards, I mean, not Kate Richards. Her name is Kate Baker now. No, just tell her. God, what do I want to say to her? Yeah, tell her she's beautiful. No, that sounds too common. Tell her tell her she's sexy. No, that sounds desperate. Tell her I said hi. Oh, there you go.
Should I tell her that Tennyson loves her, and then should I add the caveat Tennyson loves all women?
Yeah,
Would that
I
be
don't.
good?
No. Just tell her I said hi. No, that's cool.
Bring her some flowers,
said hi.
maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Steal Tennyson's credit card information and take her out to dinner.
Haha, I don't have credit card information. Oh, that's right. I finished paying off all of my credit cards already, and that's something that's a proud accomplishment for me. I have no more of those debts. I only have one more debt to take care of. It's school, and it'll be done this year. So, maybe.
All right, so financial independence. there.
Financial independence, and maybe then I'll be ready to head up to New Hampshire. This is, yeah, I had a whole thing about this today on Facebook. So, no, all the New Hampshire people, yeah, I might head up there sooner than I had anticipated. So, what's the weather like up there right now? Anyway, is it as hot as it is here?
Well, what did we get up? We got up to like 90 something today. In general, it's cooler. It really cooled off a lot yesterday. So it's not terribly hot. The shade is a good place to seek during the day. Nighttime's real nice. Cools down a lot. It got down to like, according to the radio, it was supposed to get down to 40 in northern New Hampshire at night. So
Oof.
apparently it gets a lot cooler at night.
Oh, good luck with that.
We could surely use that for the show.
What's that? Oh yeah,
A cool night.
a cool night. Yes, that would be good. So we'll wait until autumn, and then we'll be having cool nights and regular days.
Yes.
But I'll have to wait out for the bus. So
Any night with Thinking Liberty is a cool night.
did that cat just make a noise like a monkey?
She's decided that she's going to be afraid of everyone, but then suddenly run in and start playing with something.
We
That actually
got
might be a bug.
we got distracted by a cat who made a noise. Sorry, we don't ordinarily get so easily distracted. Ooh, shiny!
We are
cat-
professionals
The
on
cat
this
is
show.
so darn cute.
Yeah, I know.
It's hard not to get distracted.
It's really cute.
All right, so we have Bosco, also darn cute, but he's on the other line. He's not here. So
Yeah, he doesn't. There's no video chat here. We have a camera now hooked up, so theoretically, if you called through Skype, we could video chat and you could see my awful apartment. But Bosco is yet to get a fancy phone that can do Skype with video. He needs to get one of those. What's it? The Captivate, the AT&T Captivate.
he needs to get
or
a
something.
picture phone.
You need to get him one of the picture phones.
I think the world needs to get picture phones.
Oh, so everyone should buy iPhone 4s?
Good.
Oh wait, that only works
Yeah.
over Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Ooh,
That's an AT&T issue. Yeah.
yeah, AT&T my butt.
Yeah. I mean, would you want to pay all that for your 3G? No.
Yeah, I can do it on my phone right now. I can.
You probably have an
contact-
unlimited plan.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, they
So,
don't offer that anymore.
So Bosco, what else?
It's like, oh,
Anything
goodness.
else you want to say about your time in New Hampshire before we switch off to a new segment?
Well, it's been kind of interesting. I mean, it's a very, very interesting mix. I'm so used to reading about all this stuff on the internet. I've never been like digging basically a pit to pour gravel in and put a foundation up for something, and had somebody run out and tell me that there were a bunch of people arrested in Keene, and then hear the Pork 411 calls like one after another, basically blasted over, not blasted, but through speakers, and see how many people spring to action involving like the CD Evolution Fund and all that kind of stuff when things go down. So it's very, very interesting to be so close to all the action, yet also still kind of in the woods. It's cool.
Okay, so one thing I was wondering, like how is there some kind of? I guess there must be some kind of knowledge of like, obviously building stuff out there. I don't know if you're familiar with that book, like Toolbox for Sustainable City Living. Obviously, you're not in a city, but things in there like composting toilets and raising small things of livestock. I don't know if that would be something that'd be interesting.
We were actually talking about composting toilets and things like that in Humanor today, because it's mainly infrastructure to this point. So Jason's looking at putting in a bigger leach field, stuff like that for septic. The outhouse was installed, so there's not any composting going on. There's lots of other options.
Okay. So I guess the growing season up there wouldn't be as long as it is down here.
Well, it's kind of interesting because it's actually situated next to an area where people used to grow vegetables and things like that, and it looks like the field just gets cut once a year now, or something like that. So there's talk about working with other people to grow food and things like that, and you can grow you get a shorter season, but you can still grow a lot of stuff in the Northeast.
Okay, that's cool. Now, I guess one more question for me is, is there a concern that because people are just, doing stuff off of their own, kind of at the edge of the wilderness, that this is going to be like isolated and pointed to as some, dangerous compound out in the woods that, we have to annihilate with black helicopters or something like that?
It's not really out in the middle of the woods, and nobody's looking for Ruby Ridge. It's a lot more. You talk to other people, you talk to the people around you. That kind of feel going on. There's somebody who got a church downtown recently. I was looking at their sign today. They have, like a family fun program and all kinds of stuff like that. So I don't think that's a concern, and it's not really kind of as in the middle of nowhere as you made it sound.
Okay, so all right, so it's like people who are like integrated into society, but they just kind of live together because they want to live free.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, if you want to live free, come to Grafton. There's no zoning laws. There's good people, and like I said, there's a lot of people. That's the part that surprised me the most.
All right.
Cool.
So no zoning laws and good people. That's what we got.
All right.
There you go. What else do you need in life? How about no income tax? We'll work on that.
That sounds good, too.
That sounds good. So it sounds like Bosco's having a good time up there in New Hampshire. So thanks for calling in, and you'll be on the program next week in the studio, I suppose.
Yes, I will be here. I've missed a couple weeks, but I'll be there.
All right, cool. Thanks for calling in.
All right. One more plug, freegrafton.com.
freegrafton.com.
Freegrafton.com?
All right.
All right, there we go.
Yeah, that's it, freegrafton.com.
Freegrafton.com. See, I like that one.
All right, you guys, have a good night.
Thanks.
All right, you too. Say hi to everyone up there in Agorist Acres.
All right.
All right, so that was Bosco. He called in to us on thinkingliberty.net talking about what's going on in Free Grafton. Sounds like they have Agorist Acres where people are they're doing their thing, living free, and they're living kind of next to each other and building a new society up there.
That does sound good there. I've never been to Grafton. I've been to other places in New Hampshire, but I haven't been to Grafton just yet. And see, Bosco just called in, and you know what? You could probably call in too. So the number. You just go on to the thinkingliberty.net. You'll find the contact there. So you can click on the button, and you might just get in contact with us. So feel free. What else have we got on the old
What do we got on the agenda? Well, I want to talk.
Yeah, Bosco brought up the arrests in Keene today, and I wouldn't. So I
Wait,
guess
today there was more arrests.
there was more arrests, but in my opinion, it's slightly controversial. Not because of the degree of what happened, but sort of the fundamentals and sort of strategically. So I guess they were in court today for arraignments, I think, of some of the people who got arrested the other day, and I believe, or no, it was for Rich Paul. Yeah, so some people were asked to leave the courtroom when they didn't stand for Judge. I think it may have been Judge Burke, but they did stand for Rich Paul. And so the bailiffs asked everyone who stood to leave, which I think has happened before, but in this case, I think they were being very explicit about it. So a bunch of people got kicked out because they stood for Rich, and later, the young woman who was arrested the other day for having an open container. I
remember that.
Beginning with an H. Heike, I think.
Oh,
was her
yes,
name.
yes.
So Heike, I guess, was out in the square, Keene, New Hampshire Square area, with a bullhorn, and was
not being subtle about that, I guess.
Yeah, and apparently she had stopped using the bullhorn by the time the cops had shown up. But when the Keene PD arrived, they arrested her, saying that her using the bullhorn, or she was being disorderly by using the bullhorn. She was apparently given no warning and taken away as a breaking of her bail agreement or whatever. And so she was arrested. And then they took, I forget the woman's name, but someone else had the bullhorn, and Officer Rivera, Rivera,
whatever
that's a
his
car.
name is,
Rivera,
Officer R.
He told the woman that if she didn't hand over the bullhorn, that she would be charged with a felony. I didn't quite get why. So they ended up handing over the bullhorn, who I think is Sam Dotson's. But in any case, so this woman got arrested. Of course, the arrest and the charge is bogus, and even if she was committing some crime by doing using the bullhorn, that the arrest is excessive relative to the crime. But my issue, which I brought up on the Free Keene website about the arrest, was the problem I see is, well, one, I find bullhorns annoying. That's just a strategic thing.
I find them annoying too.
And I wouldn't want to be part of a demonstration where someone's being belligerent on a bullhorn. But the primary issue I made was that the voice, or the amplified voice, or just someone of that loudness without a bullhorn, you're polluting other people's airspace with your actions, with your vocals, and that certainly, if they were on private property with the bullhorn and you're aiming it at your neighbor,
right,
those sound waves are a form of pollution, and one would be correct, I think, in using some means to stop that, and that's, I think, what sound ordinances are for, and within a certain degree are reasonable. It's just like the problem is that this is sort of ethereal, you've got this ether and this energy can transfer.
It's a little nebulous there now.
Well, I think that if you're explicitly creating the sound, and it's excessive relative to like natural sounds or out of the normal for the area or based on contractual agreements,
right,
then you have a case. But so if they were on private property and she was using a bullhorn, some authoritative or some defense agency or the neighbor would be right to say, quit it, and eventually bring it to an arbiter if it continued. So there's that aspect of it too, where yes, it's public property, but your right to free speech, which is what some people were using in the video that I saw as an excuse or a reason for her not to be harassed, is negated when someone's private property starts.
Okay.
And so I think we need to treat these government-owned land, particularly when it's close to privately owned land, almost as if it's privately owned, in so much that you can't be standing there with a laser pointing it into someone's home.
Yes.
You're actively polluting their space with photons or with sound waves or whatever, and so there's a certain amount of legitimacy in requesting that you to stop that.
Well, I think there's a certain level too that would be acceptable. So, for example, you can't shine a laser into someone's house, but if you have an exterior light on your house, some of that light's going to spill into your neighbor's yard.
I think it's amount.
So, and it's not like you're shining a spotlight on their house and I mean, it depends on how loud you're being on a bullhorn. I mean, if you're shouting in it all night, or if you're shouting in it repeatedly, that's a legitimate complaint. But I think if it's just for a little amount of time, I don't know
I mean,
if that's
it
really
certainly
that
depends,
disruptive.
and it's relative to what else is going on average. But this Keene Square. I mean, I don't know where the woman was, but there are businesses around there. Places where you go out and eat, or bars, and there's a church, and so there certainly is. It's not like a large open space where you wouldn't expect. But I think the reason that she was harassed by the cops was because Judge Burke complained and said that her being loud was disrupting court. So in that case, I'm gonna side with her. But in general, I think we need to be careful when demonstrating that we don't infringe on the private property of those who own around the public property that you're on.
Sure, and be smart about your public relations. I mean, the government's
strategically.
disrupting people's lives all the time, and if you're going to disrupt their lives too, I think
doesn't
you gotta at least be smart about what you're doing and present the message as this is a result of the conflict between the people and the government, not just us trying to get attention from you in a way that's annoying. But it certainly seems like whatever's going on in Keene, the Keene, New Hampshire, the people there are, the activists. They're making a statement. They're making an impact, and the government is just they don't really know what to do with them. So they're going to keep going back and forth. And you can read all about that at freekeene.com, FREEKEENE.com.
And some good spelling job there, Darren.
All right, so that's what's going on in New Hampshire. Let me tell you what's going to be going on with Thinking Liberty. Well, myself, Darian Warden, I'm going to be at the Drexel Student Liberty Front Summer Retreat Conference on Saturday, July 31st.
Oh, sounds good.
I'll be doing a talk on practical anarchy. Why libertarians, because it's a kind of a libertarian thing, why libertarians should go all the way and be anarchists, and, why anarchy is practical and practical ways to get it.
That's practically anarchy over there.
That's practically anarchy. It's what I'm going to be talking about. So
About how long is that talk? Do you think it'd be good for recording?
I could record it.
All right.
So, yeah, maybe.
All right.
So maybe I'll record it, and I think it's going to be about an hour, just my time slot. So.
Wow. Oh, well, you got questions you're taking.
Yeah,
All right,
questions
so,
for
yeah.
sure. So, yeah. So, it should be a good time, and I'm certainly looking forward to it.
All right.
Drexel University seems like they have a great, liberty-oriented organization.
They do. I've met
down
them.
there.
They have a dragon as a symbol, so I don't know what that means, but
Well, that's the Drexel is like a dragon.
Yes.
Is there? So, I don't know. Are dragons pro or anti-liberty?
it seems like they'd be pretty pro-liberty.
You think so?
Almost extinct. Always trying to get the government to leave them alone because
Yeah,
the king is always after him. King and his
for
knights.
hoarding gold, I guess.
I know.
I guess I'm just thinking of I'm just thinking of when dragons come and just start burning villages. Like that's not very libertarian.
Eh.
That's more like Obama.
Yeah, usually that's. I think that the dragons do it out of vengeance. Like they've been coming after him, they've been sending knights after him, and sending jackasses to try and get the gold or stab him or something. And then all of a sudden, all right, fine, I'm just going to go after you. But it's indiscriminate, which is more like a Randian type of thing. So they're Randian libertarians.
All right, I don't know if that's really counts as libertarian, but
Oh, come on.
we'll let that slide.
They're
for
not
now.
all Lenny Peacock there. And speaking of Leonard Peacock, that guy is insane. Have you seen the craziness?
I've heard that he has endorsed terrorism
Yes, he has.
against religious people who are a different religion than him, and I will say that Leonard Peikoff is a religious extremist
Yes,
because
he
that's
is.
what he is.
I mean, it's not just a different religion, specifically Islam, but right now it's specifically Islam. Had it not been for the ad hoc alliance that the objectivists have had with these radical Christians who also agree with the anti-Muslim agenda, then they'd be calling for the same thing for these for Christian houses as well. So Christians, if they're going to have any kind of association with the objectivists, should probably keep that in mind, that they would easily advocate not suicide terrorism, but homicide terrorism to destroy you.
So Leonard Peikoff, who is what organization?
Yes,
is
Leonard
he with, and
Peikoff
who
is
he?
associated with the Ayn Rand Institute, with the Ayn Rand Center, if you want to go for ARC nowadays. But Lenny Peikoff was the intellectual heir of Ayn Rand. Like, Ayn Rand chose Peikoff to be the heir, and he was going to inherit the throne to whatever Rand had established at the time. And I don't know, he put out maybe one book so far, The Ominous Parallels, and he's been working on this one other book for the last 30 years or so. It's called Integration, Disintegration, and something or other. It's something ridiculous. Like, he's been working on this, working on it. He was even working on it when Rand was alive, by the way. And Rand made him rewrite the thing at least 4 times. This is why he never finished. And he's been just so undermined in his confidence getting something proper out that he has not been able to put this thing out. But he will eventually get the thing out. Anyway, the Ayn Rand Institute and the Ayn Rand Center has been, ever since, even before 9/11, they've been kind of crazy about foreign policy, but even more crazy now that 9/11 has happened.
Well, they are they the ones who endorse genocide,
They
i.e.,
do.
Killing everybody
Yes,
in
they do.
Muslim countries.
They
pretty
absolutely do. And no, they may not say genocide, but no, it is clear from the implications of what it is that they're actually advocating.
Because they're collectivists, they believe that all people of a certain faith should suffer for the actions of other people of that faith who interpret the same rules differently.
Exactly.
Now, I mean, I think it's certainly valuable to criticize every religion.
Right.
Every religion can be said to endorse, violent, indiscriminate killing,
Complete nutness.
and oppression. But there are so many good people of all different religions that it's really insane to say that these people should suffer because they draw inspiration from the same texts that people who fly planes into buildings draw inspiration
it's
from.
not just the text there, of course. I mean, it's also the fact of the combination with the state. So, like, if we're going to use the president, because Peikoff is not the president of the Ayn Rand Institute. In fact, the head is actually a guy named an Israeli guy. I can't remember his name. I always forget this guy's name. But anyway, his argument that he used in the objective standard was essentially that terrorists and terrorism they can't exist. No non-state actors can't exist for very long, so they have to get backing and support by the state. And this is it. We're fighting against states, and the idea is to end states that sponsor terrorism. And if you are part of a government, I mean, this is the Osama bin Laden logic that the Ayn Rand Institute uses, and I'll explain why I use that phrase. But it's that people there are responsible for what their government does. The government does not exist apart from the people, and so they are responsible for the actions of their government. If the government is doing wrong and evil things, then the people themselves bear some responsibility.
So what you're
for it.
saying is that objectivists say that individuals have a duty to be altruistic to other individuals by, influencing the governments that impact them. So they're saying that if you're in the Middle East and there are people around you who support attacking innocent people, that you have a duty towards those innocent people to risk your life for them and risk your family's lives and everything you own. So other people can live safely. That's essentially what they're saying that your duty is. And if you don't do that, you deserve to be incinerated.
No. It's not just about that. It's really not about altruism at all. See, it's all about being completely individualistic, because this is what individualism requires.
Yes, being a complete follower of what we define individualism as.
Yeah, see, individualism would require that one do these things in one's own self-interest, and it's in one's own self-interest in order to be part of this constitutionally minimal limited government. And so if you don't... Wait, somebody commented on there. Oh, I was an interruption there. So if they don't go off and control their government's actions, then they're going to be held responsible for the actions their government has taken. And so every one of them is guilty. Even if you didn't take part in it, even if you didn't vote for these things, even if you said that you were also a victim of it, you're living under it. And the fact that you didn't rise up and fight against them, killing yourself in the process doing so, means that you were complicit. And if you do get killed by the American forces, you are guilty.
So there you go. Ayn Rand Institute endorses and requires the sacrifice of individuals for the greater good of their ideology. All right, so we got that under control, I think.
Oh gosh.
So speaking of controls, we got Bile over there controlling the controls at the control table, doing a great job as always.
Controlling things.
On thinkingliberty.net, that's Tennyson there. I'm Darian, and I want to talk a little bit about some upcoming shows. We're going to have Pete Ayer and Adam Miller of Liberty on Tour here in studio next week.
They're actually going to be here?
They're actually going to be here.
That's the plan.
Oh, wow.
We should maybe get some more microphones.
Yeah.
We should be okay.
All right. So,
it was
here.
Yaron Brook. I keep forgetting Yaron Brook's name. So Yaron Brook, he's the president and executive director of the Ayn Rand Institute. And go ahead.
And he's not insane?
He is not. Well, no, he's actually also insane. Unless he's talking about economics when it doesn't have to do with anarchism, or he's talking about, some philosophy, which is actually pretty good sometimes. Other than that, the guy's a loon. So
Okay.
Continue.
So,
Adam and Pete going to
we
probably
have
going to be in the
Adam
studio.
and Pete of Liberty on Tour. Is libertyontour.com their website? All right, so go to Liberty on Tour. Basically, they're taking the motorhomediaries.com idea and taking the lessons they've learned and doing another tour. They're getting their motorhome, and they're getting some advertisers to foot the bill, and they're going to travel to different areas of the country, just kind of, I guess, creating a big banner for liberty lovers to kind of gather and meet up and mingle and spread ideas, and they're going to share their experience and create more publicity for the ideas of liberty. So we're on board. Center for a Stateless Society is on board, and Adam and Pete, good guys. So
Very good guys.
we'll see
I
them.
have met both of them myself, and I've spent some time with them. They've been pretty solid, good guys all the way.
All right, so we're looking forward to that. The week after Adam and Pete, that'll be 2 weeks from now. We have Sharon Presley coming on.
I know Sharon.
She's going to be joining us via phone.
She was part of the Libertarian Feminists, right?
Yeah, Association of Libertarian
Yeah.
Feminists. We're going to talk primarily about psychology and liberty, because a
Interesting.
lot of her work deals with psychology and standing up to experts and authorities. She was, I believe, she had some involvement, or she learned under Stanley Milgram. Milgram.
The man of the famous Milgram experiment. That's
And,
right. That was...
So she's continued work in that vein. So
Yeah.
she has a new book out. Maybe we'll talk about that.
She was also one of the founders of Laissez-Faire Books, I believe. Her and her husband were...
Yeah, I mean, she's done a real lot, so hopefully we'll be able to get into some stuff in detail. Maybe we'll invite her back again after next week.
Could be cool. What's coming up after the Sharon?
After Sharon, hopefully we're going to have Charles Johnson, the infamous radgeek.com blogger.
Oh, and happy birthday to Charles Johnson. I don't know whether it's a belated birthday or not. When was his birthday?
His birthday's today, I
His
believe.
birthday's today? Oh,
Yeah.
so happy birthday, Charles. So if you're listening to this later on, I said happy birthday, so now you owe me a nothing, but I'll tell you.
So July 27th.
Yeah.
It's Charles Johnson's birthday. Cool guy. So check out his blog, radgeek.com, and we're going to talk with him. We're going to kind of strategize for revolutionary activism, and kind of get the ideas from his Liberty Forum speech, maybe kind of draw out some threads from that conversation. So it should be a great time. So we're looking forward to that.
It sounds like a great time coming up.
All right. So that's going to be coming up. So why don't we let's talk a little bit about this Bradley Manning Defense Fund. We've mentioned Bradley Manning before on the program. He's a soldier, U.S. Army soldier, who is being held in connection with the release of the collateralmurder.com video, which was sent to WikiLeaks. It was a classified helicopter gun video that shows Iraqis being shot, and the crew is, kind of laughing about it. And a lot of the people there are obviously civilians, and they shoot into a van that's trying to carry away the wounded. Bradley Manning is accused of leaking this, and he is facing a lot of prison time in a military prison.
But he did something heroic. How can he face any prison time for this?
Well, the state believes that I should say the state and its sycophants believe that any sycophants.
There you go. I'm sorry.
All right, so
You did that on purpose, I swear.
the state and its supporters
Okay.
who are toadies for it and speak favorably about it
All right.
say that what Bradley Manning has done is, he endangered national security because, if the state does something, it's for a reason. Or if the military does something, then we shouldn't question it because they're the military.
The military is sacred.
If they think that we don't need to know about what's going on, then we should know. If it harms U.S. war policy, then you shouldn't harm U.S. war policy, even though U.S. war policy is harmful to individual life and liberty. So Bradley Manning facing a lot of time. Recently, a fund was set up to raise money for his defense. The activists involved, including our buddy Mike Gogulski of NoState.com.
Yeah, we got to get that guy to call in one of these days.
Yeah, definitely. Basically, he's. They believe that if Bradley doesn't get enough money for a good lawyer, well, I guess it's not just like a good lawyer; it's also the amount of resources it's going to take to have a good lawyer fully committed. Being able to go to all different countries, having clearance. It's going to be a lot of. It could be potentially be a lot of money. And if he doesn't get this money, then that's going to negatively impact his case versus the government. So if you believe in accountability and you have some extra money or you can spread the word a little, check out, it should be on BradleyManning.org.
BradleyManning.org?
That's BARDLYMANNING.org, BradleyManning.org. And you can throw in some money, help him raise a lawyer, because really the way that injustice is going to end is for people who are involved in it to stop being involved in it and to do something that's that'll help the situation, which is what Bradley Manning has done, and he should be supported not just out of respect for what he has done, which is a heroic deed,
A very heroic.
but also that other people will see, if I do something and I get caught, people got my back. It's one thing to oppose the system, and it's one thing to cry out against it. But if you don't think anybody else is going to help you, if you think you're on your own, then what do you really care about doing the right thing? And showing that other people actually care, I think, is a great way to help out the situation. So check it out, BradleyManning.org. And do what you can.
What I'm really hoping is that the people who were anti-war activists out there, who were Democratic anti-war activists prior to the Obama administration, will actually come out and do something about this, because this man is clearly a hero, like other anti-war heroes that they hailed prior to the Obama's election, and it seems like we could actually have a good rapport going here if we have libertarian support and Democrat support for Bradley Manning here. It would be a pretty good cross ideological boon here. That's what it seems like. I'm hoping that this can flower.
Yeah, so someone to rally behind besides Obama.
Yeah.
Someone who's actually going to end the war, unlike somebody who kind of talked about peace, even though as a senator he did absolutely nothing to end the war, and as a president he expanded it, and this is how it is.
Well, they are leaving Iraq, so kind of. They numbers are way down. They're getting ready to go. So I mean, I'm at least going to give him credit for that.
Well,
We'll see.
We'll see how that goes, and we'll see how Afghanistan goes,
Yes.
and we'll see how Pakistan goes, and
Iran,
wherever else he's going to
Somalia.
do stuff. So, U.S. global empire there. All right, so there you go. We have about 15 minutes left in our broadcast.
What in the
here.
world can we do in 15 minutes?
Why don't we get back to what we were talking about earlier in the program? This conversation you had, and this woman's said that she's against the free market and
Oh, yeah.
also that people are too evil for anything.
Yeah,
like that to
well,
work.
before we get to the too evil thing, or even before we get back to that, or something I said that I didn't get to complete was the idea of the Osama bin Laden reasoning for killing everybody and destroying things, which was that Osama bin Laden
And that's connected to Leonard Peikoff.
Leonard Peikoff is right, and the Ayn Rand objectivist, the Ayn Rand Institute there. So Osama bin Laden, in a letter of his, explained why bother attacking civilians, because people had written him, or they had complained about this in public and on the news. It's like why kill civilians? Your grievance is with the government. You should go after agents of the state, like the military, like go up against the military and things like that. And Osama bin Laden gives a very clear reasoning. He gives the democratic reasoning behind it. He says that in your countries are democracies, and in democracies the government is of the people, and so the decisions made by the government are made by these people. It's like you can't declare yourselves innocent anymore because you yourselves are the government. And if you really do believe that, if that's your justification, then that's exactly what he's using. And so he will go after you and kill innocent people because of this. And this is what the Randians, in fact, are saying as well. You, being underneath the subjection of your state, if you're not out there trying to change the decisions of the state or actually changing the decisions of the state, you're just as guilty of the actions that they've taken as they are. And so you are ripe for the murder. Or not murder, because he wouldn't be calling it murder there. It'd be
we don't call it murder when we do it.
That's right. It's not wrong when we do it.
So-
and there you go.
So there you go.
They are
they're
basically a mirror image of Osama bin Laden.
if it doesn't matter if you're actually trying to change the situation, if you're actually somewhat trying to live free, trying to help others live free. The fact is, they consider you guilty, even though the impact of the average citizen on the government is very small.
It's pretty small.
If you can join up with some big, powerful group, then maybe you can have them speak for you, and therefore your voice will vicariously be heard, but it won't really be your voice. So that's the logic there. I wanna point out that not everybody influenced by Ayn Rand is crazy. Okay, I've enjoyed I enjoyed some of her books. I think she.
Did you enjoy The Fountainhead?
I thought it was okay. It didn't leave me motivated to read Atlas Shrugged, but
Okay, but you eventually did read Atlas.
no, I didn't.
You still haven't read Atlas Shrugged?
No, I haven't.
Oh my!
But
gosh.
I read. There's no point in even talking to me now because I haven't read Atlas Shrugged.
I know.
Obviously,
you need to be cast out into the outer shadows here. You haven't read Atlas Shrugged. It's time for you to read Atlas.
but I liked Anthem, and Ayn
Anthem
Rand
was
had
good.
some good things to say, but she combined it with things that weren't so great, and I just don't think she was as good of a philosopher as she tries to be. I mean, she's no more of a philosopher than the average person who talks about philosophy. Is the way I look at it. I mean, she had things to say, but everybody has good things to say. You can learn just from someone you meet at a cafe, and he's got
boy.
some ideas.
Yeah.
So
some random person isn't equal to Rand or Rand's achievements or Rand's accomplishments or Rand's contributions to philosophy and anything else. But I don't want to talk about Ayn Rand and all that. No.
But our friend Roderick Long, he was very influenced by Ayn Rand.
He will talk about Ayn Rand.
I believe he wrote. He had a hand in writing the some encyclopedia of philosophy entry on Ayn Rand.
Yeah. He co-wrote an encyclopedia entry on Ayn Rand with some other female philosopher. I forget who she was, but he's also was a co-editor of the Journal of Ayn Rand Studies. So that was another thing.
Okay, so unlike Leonard Peikoff and the Ayn Rand Institute, Thinking Liberty is not going to be collectivist about this and put all of the people who draw inspiration from Ayn Rand into the same, genocidal box that they that some of these people are.
That's going to be the name of Darian's rock band, Genocidal Box. But
put you in the genocidal box.
The genocidal box. Yeah, but Lenny Peikoff actually used the book The Fountainhead as a justification for the actual terrorism that he's talking about here. So there you go. He's saying that what Howard Rourke did to protect his structures. It's like that's kind of what we're thinking. That's what his
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Blow them up. And no, you can't do it because only a government can legitimately do it. But let's just say the government may not be doing its job. I don't know. Wink, wink. It's like
Okay.
Yeah.
So
let's go back to the coworker here. So I asked her, what did she mean by everybody was evil? And whether she subscribed. I asked her if she subscribed to this Calvinist total depravity doctrine. She said yes. She believes in this thing, and I just found it so astounding. I could barely even formulate proper questions of this. And like, I wonder how exactly did she imagine that civilization must have arose if people are completely, totally depraved and evil? It's like, how in the world could we even be sitting there at this point in a cafe eating lunch?
you're evil and hate.
I'm like, what?
This is black metal shit.
This is some black metal, death metal kind of things I hear. You need some good, lighthearted speed metal here. Yeah, but I don't know what it is that she was thinking. I said that. Well, I'm like, do you think that people would just go off and willy-nilly murder each other? If why aren't they doing this? She says, well, it's not in their self-interest to do so.
That's it's almost like a mirror of what I'm saying, but you do things because it's in your self-interest, but that doesn't make you evil. That just makes you smart. I mean, you got to do things in your self-interest. What else are you on Earth to do?
It kind of just makes you an existing being. I mean, you exist as a self. What are you other than a self? You're a self. You're going to do things, and if you want to continue existing, of course, you're self-interested.
And I think I'm going to defer to a person who believed in the state. Here,
Ayn Rand?
Thomas Jefferson, who said, sometimes it is said that man cannot be the governor of himself. Can he then be the governor of others?
Yeah,
or have we found angels in the forms of kings to govern him? And I think that's really the heart of the matter here. If people are evil, then government is evil. It's made of people, and you're giving these evil people power.
It's made out of people.
And the thing is, you have to look at what influences people. Just because someone has a capacity to do a lot of good doesn't mean that and just because everyone has their own free will and they're still responsible for their decisions, their environment's still going to affect them. So when you have someone who wants to do good, but to them doing good means getting to the top of this power structure no matter what they do, and that's the common good becomes connected with their personal power, which is
become the captain of the mafia,
which is which is how we're talking about politicians before. Then you're going to have them doing a lot of evil. They're going to crawl over the backs of other people to try to grab the reins of government. But if you have a system where people can only get ahead in life by doing things that other individuals value, you can only get stuff from a person by giving them something that they value, and individual life and liberty is respected.
Selfish bastard.
I am. And well, no, I'm not selfish. I'm an
about
individualist.
Getting things.
To me, selfish means that you promote self above others. To me, every individual is, their self. Every individual self is, the most important thing. So I'm not the most important thing in everyone's life, but. For me, my values.
You are the most important thing in your life.
Yes, I'm just the most important thing in my life, and you're the most important thing in your life. And the things that we value, the people that we value, the relationships we value, they're the most important things to us, and that's what self-interest is about.
So what you could do is write that down on a Hallmark card and give it to people. I am the most important thing in my life. This is what a common person would hear when you say something like this. And we know exactly what we're talking about, but that sounds very strange to them. So she would say that just sounds completely nuts, saying that you're focused on yourself, when you really should be. If you're going to be good at all, I don't know what she defines as good or how even she imagines ethics would have evolved at all, but because people are completely, totally depraved. I don't know what she thinks about anything, except for the hatred of the free market. is just hatred of the free market. You sound like what is that? I can't even think of him right now. I'm getting emails after emails after emails, but it's just I don't know what in the world she could be talking. So one of these days, when we're alone together, I'm going to ask her to explain more about what it is she believes, because I think that we can have a pretty good conversation.
Everything's gonna be just right.
Yeah, everything's
and then
gonna-
Tennyson's gonna engage you in some philosophy.
There we go.
Oh,
So
yeah.
this is going to be philosophizing all night long. So,
All right.
but she's real sweet. She's cool.
So yeah, I mean, I just I want to say, like, with that with individuals, I mean, the things that are most valuable to me, the things that make my life good, are the relationships in my life. So it's not it's not as simple as I'm the most important thing in my life. It's that my values, the things that I value, are most important to me, and that includes your relationships.
of course, you can
and,
imagine how that might sound to somebody.
Well, they shouldn't be listening to this show. But you should listen to this show because you're awesome.
You are.
And you've been listening to another edition, another episode of Thinking Liberty. We're on thinkingliberty.net, Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM, and we're awesome. So we want you to go out there, be free, and if you can promote Thinking Liberty or throw us a few bucks, that's cool too. So good night,
Yeah,
everyone.
even if you can't throw us a few bucks, invite somebody else to listen, because it's going to be pretty cool. I like it that way.
Drink something. Dat booty just too fine.
There we go.